If you thought there was a lot of infighting in the Republican Party when Donald J. Trump ran in the 2016 presidential primary against 16 other candidates, sit back, strap in, and grab your popcorn. The Democrat primary promises to be an all-out, bare-knuckle, beat-down clown show. And although it's been 4 years since Hillary and Bernie duked it out in that primary with Hillary's cash on the DNC scales, we still know very little about what the Democrats actually stand for. What we do know is they still hate President Trump now more than ever. Every other message is frenetic, frenzied, and hysterical. Every message is a bit more left, a bit more progressive, a bit more socialist than the last one. They keep going so far left, I'm waiting for them to fall off the edge of the earth. But then again, the earth is round, unless they upended that truth, too. Meanwhile, this week, the other side, President Trump, demonstrated clear leadership in his official kickoff announcement for a second term. If ever there was a week to see him turn the focus and the spotlight on himself, of which he is master, this was it. People waited 2 days in the pouring rain, many of them not even getting into the event. The man can draw a crowd, create enthusiasm, bring back patriotism, and make people proud of America. There were well over 100,000 requests and over 20,000 people seated inside. This kind of enthusiasm has never been matched in American history. And I don't care what poll, what network, what statistical genius tells you who's ahead and who isn't. There is a chord that this man strikes in the American heart, the American dream that the left can't destroy, ravage, and obliterate, no matter how hard they try. The day after his rally, he raised nearly $25 million, the largest one-day haul by any candidate in presidential history. So, as he stays strong and laser-focused on his strengths and the rocking economy with opportunity for all Americans to be part of the American dream, the Democrat clown car, overloaded with 23 candidates, bumbles down the path to nowhere. Like cannibals, their plan, not so much to promote themselves as it is to eat each other alive. Example. As if their supposed frontrunner, Joe Biden, doesn't have enough problems just being who he is, past plagiarisms illustrate his lack of depth on important subjects. His penchant to stick his nose in women's necks. I still haven't figured out what the man is sniffing for. Other than my dog, I don't know any two-legged dogs who sniff like Creepy Joe. But don't take it from me. You heard what his own pals say about his flip-flopping on the Hyde Amendment. One day, the government should not pay for abortions. The next day, why not? They should. Or the latest mess, where his fellow Democrats savage him on segregation, where Joe tries to explain he can work with anyone. He's suddenly a racist to his far-left, eat-them-alive Democrat colleagues.
But, you know, let's be very clear that the senators that he is speaking of with such adoration are individuals who made and built their reputation on segregation. The Ku Klux Klan celebrated the election of one of them. So this is a very serious matter.
For his posture to be to me, I've done nothing wrong, you should apologize, I'm not a racist, is so insulting and so missing the larger point that he should not have to have explained to him.
I think to be singing the praises of people who were vicious segregationists is not something that anybody...
But he was talking about working with them. Is that the same thing as singing their praises?
I'm not so sure.
Now, I don't remember things being this bad 15 months before the Republican primary last time around. Do you? And what's with Joe's son? Now, I'm usually the first one to say that a family member's behavior is totally irrelevant to the candidate, but you just cannot here. Joe Biden admits that when his son Hunter was working for an energy company in the Ukraine, he, Joe, threatened the president of the Ukraine that he would withhold $1 billion if the prosecutor investigating the energy company where his son worked was not fired. Curiously, his son had no background in energy and was making $50,000 a month. Biden is so stupid, he proudly admits that after his threat, the prosecutor was fired. Shades of the Clinton Democrats, where foreign policy is shaped to benefit the family pocketbook. And even Joe's best pal, Barack, is uncharacteristically silent these days. Joe had to remind him that they are besties with this Best Friends Forever bracelet. Joe, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for your best pal Barack to endorse you. Maybe, though, he's waiting for the perfect day when the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the planets are aligned to signal that, Joe, you're the one. But in the meantime, Joe, you will probably make a pretty lousy president. So stick to making your friendship bracelets and wishing and hoping. America doesn't need a best friend. America doesn't need a sniffer or a plagiarist or someone so dumb he admits threatening to withhold government money to end an investigation involving a company where a family member is working. So I suspect the clown car will be dumping creepy Joe off as the clowns continue to fight each other. But in the end, it won't matter because Trump's in a Lamborghini. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook and Twitter. #JudgeJeanine.